All I'm going to say is sorry for not uploading very much recently. I've just been really busy with uni work, but we are back today doing my score predictions for matchday 31 of the Championship. Every weekend we get closer and closer to the end of the season. The league table is starting to form. Here is what the current table looks like at the moment. We've got some really dramatic games, some really interesting encounters going on from the top and the bottom of the leaderboard, which could have huge implications in the future of this Championship season. As always, if you like what you see, want to see more Championship content from me, please make sure you do give this video a like. It is massively appreciated. Please to make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're 95 subscribers as of recording this video. 5 left to that elusive 100 subscriber mark. You guys know what to do. If you haven't subscribed or if you're new around here, please hit subscribe. All of that will be fantastically appreciated. And to grow the channel, please share the channel to as many football fans as you can. All of that will be fantastically appreciated. If any of you are unfamiliar with this series, I'll quickly explain how it works. I give 12 of my score predictions happening in the Championship in every weekend. I leave this weekend's fixtures in the description down below so that you can pause the video and you can go on and predict the Championship as well. If you get one prediction right, your comment will be included in the next review video, which will normally get released on a Monday. And whoever gets the most correct predictions will have their channel shout out as well. What this also means, if you get a prediction right, you'll be added onto the Lexus Hall of Fame. This is what it currently looks like now. And I've kind of made it a little bit more of a competitive base. I'm thinking of next season, we could have some prizes involved if anyone were to finish on top at the end of the season. But without any further ado, I've got everything explained. Let's hop into some of these games. So the first game taking place this weekend is Friday's game between Bristol City and Birmingham. Bristol City are in a great run of form at the moment with 4 wins on the bounce. They're looking very, very good and very well prepared to try and shoot up the table. As with Birmingham, they had to play an FA Cup game in midweek in St Andrews, being the home side for once against Coventry. That game went on yesterday. They were in the back foot majority of this game. They had to really rely on Jeremy Bella to rescue them in the 120th minute. Birmingham managed to get away with it and avoided humiliation and managed to go on to the next round of the FA Cup. Into this game, the reverse fixture was a 1-1 draw, pretty nonsensical. I think it was a game of 2 halves. Don't see Bristol City slow down anytime soon. I'll be very interested to see if Naki Wells plays. I'm going to say Bristol City get a 2-1 home victory. I don't think it'll be easy. I know they've got 4 clean sheets in a row, but I think Birmingham will bridge out because I do think Bristol City are a little bit more open at home for some odd reason. But I think despite that, Bristol City will find a way to win and it'll be a 2-1 home victory. The next up, we've got Saturday's early game between Wigan and Preston. Now, this was the start of Preston's unbelievable run. It was a 3-0 home victory in a reverse fixture, which really sent Wigan down to earth when they previously beat Cardiff by 3-2 on the opening day of the season. In the formers, Preston have lost in their last 4 games, so they have recovered, previously losing 2 on the bounce. As with Wigan, they've actually won 2 games in a row. This is the first time they've secured back-to-back wins this season. So this could be a very, very important time for Wigan to try and gain some points and to try and push away from the likes of Barnsley and Luton, who seem to be struggling more. Lightning struck twice when they managed to beat Leeds, and last year when they played against Preston, Wigan won 2-0, and in fact Preston was sent down to 10 men. It was a very feisty and dramatic game. Lightning could strike twice. However, I think Preston are proving to be a bit more resilient. They've got more quality up front with their new signing, Scott Sinclair, doing very, very well for them. I thought he was terrific against Swansea in their last game. And also defensively, I feel like they've improved with Patrick Bauer really stepping up. I think he's almost proved to be the signing of the season. He's really improved that Preston backline in comparison to last season at least. So in predicting this game, it's a little bit difficult because I think Wigan at home do have something about them. They do have a lot of desire. I feel like Wigan may take the lead in this game, but knowing them, they'll concede a 90th minute goal and lose all 3 points, and I think that's what will happen. I think this will be a 1-1 draw, but a very tight game. Let me know what you think in the comments. So we've got another early Saturday game, a Yorkshire derby between Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday. This, I think, will actually be very, very close. Barnsley have proven to be in a really poor run of form now. They've lost 3 games in a row for what looked so promising under Gerhard Struber. At times they played well. I think back to the Bristol City game when they lost 1-0. They really didn't deserve to lose with the chances they had. They hit the crossbar 3 times in that game and just could not score for the life of them. As for Sheffield Wednesday, they're in a poor run of form. They've actually got the poorest form out of every Championship club in the start of 2020, so they need to fix that as soon as they can. Only picking up one win in their last 6. Would you guess who that was against? Leeds United. Leeds seem to be so generous to giving points to teams who are really struggling in form right now. But because it's a derby, I do feel like anything could happen in the reverse fixture. Sheffield Wednesday were pretty comfortable with a 2-0 home victory against Barnsley, and they did well to really restrict Barnsley because they were riding high in confidence in the previous week, beating Fulham by 1-0 on the opening day. Barnsley have actually not beaten Sheffield Wednesday in their last 6 meetings against each other. The last time Barnsley beat Sheffield Wednesday at home was all the way back in 2011, would you believe? Almost a decade. Sheffield Wednesday are undefeated in 10 games against Barnsley in all competitions, so I don't think Sheffield Wednesday will lose in this game. And actually, I think Sheffield Wednesday have proven to be better away from home than they are at home right now, so I do think they'll get a positive result. But I think there'll be something about Barnsley that says that they need to win this game, because I say Barnsley at home are better than away. So I think with all of that considered, I think they'll cancel each other out. Considering it's a derby, this could be a 0-0 draw in a very tight and cagey game. But for me, I think there'll be plenty of goals. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw and a very, very feisty game. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I wouldn't even be surprised if we could see a red card. So now we finally get to the 3 o'clock games, with the first one with Blackburn going up against Swansea. Both of these sides are in pretty strong runs of form, both picking up 2 wins in their last 4 games, but being undefeated in those 4 games. Both in the top half of the table, with Fulham really striving to push Leeds all the way. They're on 52 points right now, 3 points below Leeds, and considering Leeds have got to face a really tough playoff opposition side in Nottingham Forest, this could be the perfect opportunity for Fulham to gain advantage and to gain a little bit of ground in the automatic promotion places. Having said that, they've got to face a Blackburn side who are very tough to beat at Ewood Park. Blackburn's strong home form speaks for itself, as they're undefeated in 10 home games. So Fulham are going to really find it tough to get maximum points in this game, and I don't think they will. I anticipate that there might be a load of goals in this game, because I think Fulham will play well because they all know that they need to get something from this game. Having said that, I think Blackburn will be one test too much for Fulham, and I think following the inconsistency of a load of these teams this season, I think we're going to see it this weekend with Fulham, and I'm going to say Blackburn get a 3-2 home victory. I've got a little bit of an instinct, and I think this will be the upset of this weekend. I think Fulham do look unstoppable, but for me, Blackburn could be one task too much for them, and this could really benefit Blackburn. They could be in the driving seat. They could really start to enter the playoffs in a matter of a couple of games. So I'm going to say Blackburn get a clutch 3-2 home victory, but I won't be surprised if Fulham get a fantastic result, because both of these sides on a good day are a joy to watch. So next up, we've got Huddersfield versus Queen's Park Rangers. Now, this was Huddersfield's first bit of points in the season, a very few that they achieved under Jan Sievert, getting a 1-1 away victory. And I do remember that reverse fixture. I think Huddersfield were quite unlucky that they didn't actually get anything more for the point in that game. I'd say they were the better team. As of now, I'd say Huddersfield are in a better position than Queen's Park Rangers are right now. Only 4 places separate them, only 6 points separate them, and when you consider the shift of momentum between these two sides at the start of the season, that's quite extraordinary. In the last 6 meetings, it's pretty evenly split. 2 wins for Huddersfield, 2 wins for Queen's Park Rangers, and 2 draws between them. Having said that, what I saw from both of these sides, I'd say Huddersfield are probably going to be the favourites. I mean, I know they lost to Swansea by 3-2, but the way they got their 2 goals back, I think Emil Smith-Rowe is proving to be a really important player for them, and I'm really excited to see the likes of Harry Toffolo starting to be introduced to the squad as well. I can see Huddersfield winning this game. I'm going to say Huddersfield get a 1-0 home victory. I think it'll be very, very tight. I know there's a load of goals going around in Huddersfield's game at the moment. In fact, over 3 goals scored in Huddersfield's last 5 games. Having said that, I think this game will be a bit different, and I think considering Queen's Park Rangers' leaky defence, I'm going to say Huddersfield are going to get the edge due to its attacking quality. So I'm going to say Huddersfield get a 1-0 home victory. Next up, we've got Luton Town going up against Cardiff. This has to be a must-win game for Luton. Both these sides have actually played each other twice already this season, with 1 win going to each side, with Luton blowing Cardiff out of the park in the cup game by 3-0. I vaguely remember that game. It was a complete turnaround performance for them, and it was a shame that they have not really shown that same quality going into the Championship. Of course, they're 24th at the moment on 24 points. They're joined on points with Barnsley, with a 5-point gap forming between them and Wigan Athletic. It's essential that now's the time that they need to start winning more games. They need to show that same grit that they showed against Derby County when they were behind, but they fight back and they win the game overall. And they need to do that against Cardiff, because Cardiff look a little bit vulnerable. They've done well to kind of patch away the defeats. They've only lost once in their last 6, not losing in their last 4 games, but they picked up 3 draws in the process. So having said that, Cardiff are not really climbing up the table. They're 12th place at the moment, so they're bang slap in the middle of mid-table purgatory. Do I see Luton having a chance? I think yes, because I think in Kenilworth Road, I think they are a better side. I think away from home, they've not quite got it. But in home, they could really go out and test a few sides. As of this game, I think Luton are the only side to lose over 20 games so far this season, which is not great with 30 games being played. But with Cardiff's slow form recently, I'm going to say that continues. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. Occasionally, Luton do pick up the odd point now and again, and I think now is a time where they need to pick up a point. It won't help them, but a point is a point, and I think Cardiff's pretty slow form will continue. So I'm really looking forward to this game. Brentford going up against Middlesbrough. Brentford right now are on absolute fire, blowing away Hull City by 5-1 away from home. Side Ben Rama having a terrific 10 out of 10 worthy performance. It was unbelievable from him. BMW were just completely ruthless. They face a Middlesbrough side who looked like that they recovered a little bit of form, but they have slowed down a little bit with only 2 wins out of their last 6 and not winning in their last 4. But they've only lost once in their last 6 as well, which was against Fulham. Brentford have actually lost more in their last 6 than Middlesbrough have. So Middlesbrough, you could argue, have the slightly better form, although Brentford have won more games, and especially in a more convincing manner. It would be very typical after Brentford have an outstanding performance, fall extremely flat against Middlesbrough and they get an away victory. But following the brilliance of BMW, I just can't see anything else but a Brentford win, and I think they know that they need to continue putting the pressure on Leeds. They've got to play Leeds in their next game, in the midweek game, which I'm really excited to see. I'm going to say that this will be their audition to their Leeds game, and I'm going to say they get a 3-1 home victory. I think there will be an uneventful first half, but I see the second half with the goals flying in. So I'm going to say a 3-1 home victory to Brentford. Next up, we've got Reading versus Hull. Reading had to play in midweek against Cardiff in the FA Cup, and I'm surprised I didn't mention this previously with Cardiff playing the FA Cup. Cardiff lost out and Reading managed to win on penalties. It was a very, very close and very, very tight game, but Reading stayed with it and they managed to clutch out with the penalty shootout, winning it by 4-1. Heading to this game is a completely different test as they have to face a Hull City side who have lost 4 games in a row in the worst run of form so far in the Championship leading up to this year. Don't know what's happened with Hull, and especially with their run of form and the fact they've lost Jabbo and Grzycki, it could be really squeaky bum time for Hull if they don't fix his form as soon as they can. Grant McCann could be under tremendous pressure if he doesn't change a few things or if he gets his side winning again. He could have a chance against Reading because Reading have not been that great in form either, only winning once in their last 6 and actually not winning in their last 5 games. It is 15th going up against 14th with only 1 point separating them. I'd say whoever wins this game would really pull themselves away from the talk of the relegation battle, especially if the likes of Wigan, Charlton and Huddersfield continue to win games, and they'll close that gap between Reading and Hull. But Hull's very poor form, I'm going to say that this game's going to be a 1-1 draw. The reason being, Reading have had 3 1-1 draws in their last 6 games. Reading seem to find a way to get something out of the game but not win. I think Reading would ultimately try, and I think they will try and put Hull under some serious pressure. But I think Hull, with a slightly stronger record, I think they'll hold their own, and I think in the end this will be a 1-1 draw. So we've got a very tight game happening on in the bottom of the table. We've got Stoke City going up against Charlton, 21st versus 19th place. And if Stoke win this game, they can overtake Charlton in points, would you believe? This game could really have huge repercussions in either one of these teams going into the relegation battle for the second half of the season. Charlton were fantastic in the reverse fixture, beating Stoke by 3-1. Lyle Taylor was absolutely lethal in that game, although Jack Butland had a complete nightmare in that game. I do remember going to review. Stoke have actually won 3 games of their last 6. However, last weekend they had a reality check where they lost 4-0 against Stoke, which was just a complete surprise performance. You just never saw it coming from Stoke City, proving how good they were against Swansea and how they were previously against West Brom as well. It was just a complete night and day performance, and it's that inconsistency that they need to fix as soon as they can. As for Charlton, they won last weekend, which was against Barnsley, of course, another relegated battled side. So they did really, really well to put Barnsley under pressure and to give them a little bit of breathing space. However, they've got to do the same thing against Stoke. If they don't do that, then they'll put themselves right back in the relegation picture. For me, I'm going to slightly edge Stoke for a 2-1 home victory. Reason being, I think that one game against Derby was a blip in form. They know deep down that they need to take this opportunity. And I think realistically, with the squad they have in front of them, Stoke should win this game. I think Charlton, since losing Conor Gallagher, have looked more vulnerable. And with that reason being, I think they will struggle in this second half of the season. And they're going to have to somehow clutch enough points to survive. But for me, I think both teams will survive. But at what stage of the season, we're going to have to wait and see. But I'm going to say Stoke make a big statement to that survival and get a 2-1 home victory this weekend. So the last game this weekend is Swansea going up against Derby. Now, one of the themes recently is that the reverse fixture tends to match real life result. And I really don't want it to be this game because this was a very boring 0-0 draw last time. However, I do remember it well. Freddie Woodman had to save a penalty for Martin Waghorn. He got man of the match of that game. And it was Swansea at the time that seemed to keep every clean sheet with every game they managed to play with Freddie Woodman in goal. They have slowed down a little bit and Derby have started to build a little bit of momentum recently, winning 4 games out of their last 6 as well. But obviously they did lose against Luton quite recently by 3-2, which was another blip of their own. Swansea are 8th place right now, 4 points outside the playoffs, so I'd say they do need a maximum 3 points if they want to keep themselves in the promotion picture. Derby could be a bit fatigued. They did have to face Northampton Town in the FA Cup, which was a pretty strong squad. Wayne Rooney starting. As of this matchup, 3 times in their last 6 meetings have been draws. And I'm going to say this is going to be a repeat and even worse off. I also think this will be a 0-0 draw. I think both sides will be left frustrated. I think Derby may actually have the better chances. But I think overall, I think this will be a very anticlimactic 0-0 draw. I just got a little bit of a feeling that a reverse fixture is going to match this fixture. So the penultimate game is a late Saturday game with Nottingham Forest going up against Leeds United. This could be crunch time for Nottingham Forest or Leeds United. If Nottingham Forest win, they'll reduce the gap between them by 1 point, and Fulham could see themselves overtaking Leeds and Brentford almost doing the same. And the fact that Brentford got to play Leeds next, it could be a very turbulent few weeks for Leeds to come ahead. They need wins desperately. Leeds have won only twice in their last 6 meetings, losing 3 times in their last 4 games, which is ultimately the reason why the teams in playoffs are just edging ever closer to their current position in the table. As in Nottingham Forest, they've only lost once in the last 6. That was their most recent game against Birmingham. Game where they really shouldn't have lost. If that penalty miss, I think, had a really big say on Nottingham Forest's loss. I think it was poor of them how they allowed Birmingham to get into the game, especially their second goal. That should have been cleared. I remember the reverse fixture quite vividly. I know Patrick Bamford had so many opportunities, and it was the beginning of a very frustrating season for Bamford and the fans being frustrated with him. He could have had 3 goals, I think, in that game with the amount of chances that he had. If Nani will strike twice from this game last year, Nottingham Forest should win because they did win 4-2 in New Year's Day last year. But I think the reverse fixture is going to match this result. I think Leeds, despite not being a good run of form, at home Nottingham Forest are not as convincing for me. So I'm going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw, but I'm almost tempted to say that Nottingham Forest are going to be the one side to edge Leeds, because I think looking at both performances, I'm more or less confident than Nottingham Forest right now. If Leeds take their chances, they'll win. But how many times will Leeds take their chances? You just never know what you're going to get with Leeds. So the final game to go through is going to happen on Sunday. Millwall going up against West Brom. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I really struggled to pick a score for this game. Seriously, because for me, Millwall have really recovered under Gary Rowett, playing a much better stuff under him. Having said that, Millwall have not won in their last 2 games. They lost against Leeds, which I don't think they should have lost. They really threw the game away in the second half. And they drew 0-0 against Sheffield Wednesday, where with the chances they had, Millwall should have won. They definitely had the much better chances than Sheffield Wednesday had in that game. But they had won 3 times previously in their last 6 games. So Millwall are proving to be quite strong in form right now. West Brom have even had a worse form than Leeds United leading up to their game last weekend against Luton, with 3 defeats in their last 5 games. However, they managed to go back to winning ways, beating Luton by 2-0. I don't think they're right at it yet. I think Callum Robertson's going to be an important player. If he's on it, West Brom will be on it. And having said that, I do think Millwall at the Den is going to be really, really tough for West Brom to get maximum points out of. The last meeting they had in a reverse fixture was a 1-1 draw. So Millwall have been a real tough side for West Brom to try and crack. And I think that will show. I think the top two this weekend will both not win. I'm going to say Millwall are going to get a 2-1 home victory. They are 5 points below the playoffs right now, so they know a win is absolutely necessary if they want to keep up hopes of going into the playoffs. Gary Rowett's been at position before with Derby County and he managed to get into the playoffs. Why not? He can't do that with Millwall. He's got the essentials in front of him. And I think with a team performance, Millwall with enough opportunities and West Brom being very wasteful in their chances, I think Millwall will get a 2-1 home victory, but I'm willing to disagree. So, there are my score predictions for this weekend. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, this is just my opinion. What I'm interested in, what do you think is going to happen this weekend? Let me know in the comments down below. What fixture are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I'll leave some poll questions up there for you to answer. If you guys want to ask me any more questions for what I may not have discussed this weekend, my Twitter is always on the screen. You can always go and follow it and tweet me anything. But that'll wrap it up for this weekend. If you guys liked what you see, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's massively appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't done or if you're new around here. All of that would be fantastically appreciated, especially as we're nearly at 100 subscribers. Please share the channel to as many Championship fans as you can. All of that would really make my day. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care.